G'day to all of you out there. This lesson is for Adam's Song by Blink-182. Now I had a bunch of requests for this song and I can tell why. That groove in the verse is awesome. And I think you'll find that once I break it down, it's not quite as tricky as it sounds. So let's jump on the kit and find out. I've got a couple of extra things in my setup today. I've got a cymbal stack over on my right side and a splash cymbal over on my left side. They sound great with the song, but if you don't have this stuff, don't worry about it. On your right side, you could just use your right cymbal, and on your left side, just use your regular crash cymbal. For the intro, we don't particularly need that stuff. There's just one crash cymbal in there, and we're just playing a pretty basic beat on the rim of the snare drum, just like this. That left foot hi-hat stuff is pretty faint in the recording, so you can definitely leave that out, but I can just kind of hear that splashiness kind of going on. So if you want the challenge, add it in there. Moving on into our verse groove, this is where the real fun begins. We're kind of always moving, so let me take it really slowly, and then hopefully you can work out exactly what's happening. It does flow quite nicely from right to left though, so just keep an eye on that, and hopefully that will help you nail this groove. Let me play right through that verse section up to speed. Moving on, we are back onto the rims, just playing that groove that I showed you right at the beginning. At the very end of that, we're going to add an extra snare drum right at the end of the bar, and then we're into a big tom section that sounds like this. We have a fill at the end of this section, right before we move into the chorus. Now we're into our chorus, and it's just a 2-bar loop. The second bar is a tiny bit tricky because there's some really obvious ghost notes in there, but I'll take it slowly and hopefully that helps you to work it out. From that chorus, we pretty much just cycle right back through using the stuff that we've already done. In the quiet little rim click section, there's maybe one extra crash cymbal, so that would sound like this. We go back into our tom groove, and then we use that same fill going into the chorus. At the end of the chorus, we're going to hit the bridge. Now this is where you're going to need a few rudiments, so hopefully you've been doing a bit of practice on those, some buzz rolls or double stroke rolls, and maybe even some flam paradiddles. Anyway, for starters, I'll show you the first part of the bridge, and I think it'll be easiest to buzz it, but I'm probably going to use doubles, so it would sound like this. For the next part of the bridge, we add some flams and some flam paradiddles as well. If any of it is too tricky, I think it would be easiest to just go the kicks and the flams on beat 2 and beat 4, and that would still sound really good along to the song. But if you can, add these extra rudiments in there, and that will sound really fantastic. Next up in the bridge, we are just building right up. We've got a crash on beat 1, and then we're going to use snare drum and floor tom to make a crescendo going over 2 bars, and we're going to do that twice. Then we're going to continue that build up playing 16th notes on the snare drum, just like this. From there we go back into our chorus, and we're just playing through that the same way that we already have done, but right at the very end, instead of playing the 2 bars, we're just going to loop the second bar over and over again until the very end, so that would sound like this. And that brings us to the end of Adam's Song by Blink-182. I hope that by breaking down those drum parts, it makes it a little easier for you to hear what's going on in the song, and hopefully you can get up and jamming as well. So happy practicing, and I'll catch you at the next lesson.